Okay. Hi, my name is Arun. So just to take it for the second time, if people can hear, can they wave their hand? All right. Okay, good. I think fair enough. Perfect. So I've met. I'm getting an echo. Do you want to put that off? Do you want to turn it on mute? Mine? Yeah, I can hear myself. All right. Yeah. If everyone else can go on mute, apparently the moderator is not on mute, and he's sitting right beside me. So I'm. Uh, hearing it again? I can hear myself. You should put yourself on mute, Mr. Moderator. Now you. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. That works. All right. So congratulations, everybody, for making it into the ICRC team. In fact, I hear it was quite a challenge for the evaluators to select select teams from the number of projects that they got. So kudos to you for making it making the cut. So the format of this conversation is going to be such that I'm still hearing the. Are you on mute too? Yeah. Okay, this is interesting. So I can hear myself. I'm not that narcissistic. That's fair enough. So the format of this webinar is going to be such that I will start off by just giving you a few pointers, and then I'll briefly touch upon design. It's a very big term, so I'll try and do justice in the very limited time I have, but I will try and limit that to about 20 minutes or so, and then I will open it up for questions, and I think we will all learn better when I try and answer specific questions that members pose, so everybody else can learn because they're kind of in the same boat of sorts. So, when I was thinking about this webinar, I decided, I'm going to, for me as a designer with my limited experience, I feel design, especially designing for people, it's a very philosophical experience. So instead of talking about philosophy or design, I decided to actually do this entire webinar backwards, wherein I tell you what I'm going to tell you, and then finally I'll just tell you what I told you, right? So just about 5 points that I want you to remember, if anything else, right? I want you to know that you are designing this for people. You are designing better solutions for people. The technology is only one facet. This is not a self-gratification process where you get money to and then you get to boast. You get to create something that is your own. I mean, yes, these are all side things, but at the end of the day, you need to know you are here because you are chosen to make somebody else's life better. Period. All right. So that being said, I want you to remember tech is only one facet of solving the problem. Having done a PhD, and worked with other PhDs at top universities. Amongst us, we're all very smart in this team, and I don't care whether you have a PhD. I don't care what your background is. If you meet people who say they know it all, or I know what's best for them, unless, of course, it is the customer themselves, they don't know what they're talking about. You have to meet with the customer. They have to tell you what it is for them, what they are going through, and you have to design it for them. This is, when you come to it, to me, it is a very philosophical endeavor. It's quite humbling too, because the people put in trust and put trust in you, and for you have to deliver too, right? Now, it's all mute, right? Okay, fair enough. Perfect. Okay, now moving on. As you are creating solutions for other people, I also want you to know that, again, as this is very philosophical, I want you to be very objective with yourself. As designers, engineers or even creative people, one thing that we need to catch ourselves is that we can get fixated on an idea. We propose you're thinking about how do we solve this problem. An idea comes, it's like the light bulb, and you go like, yes, that is it. And then you just go after it. I mean, that's a good, being tenacious is good, but I want you to be objective. If I don't want you to be married to an idea. If you find that I want you to, if somebody else critiques your idea constructively, if you should be able to, objectively say, yeah, that's a good point. I should look into that. Or if somebody tells you that, hey, have you thought about that? Don't go defensive. Oh, da 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 da. No, say, hey, that's interesting, and let me consider that. Or turn the question back to them, saying, that's a very good point. How would you solve that, right? So be objective, and the whole point is to come up with a win-win situation wherein you win by creating a wonderful solution for somebody else, and they win in it too. So the process is you have to be objective, all right? And through all of this, if you are not objective or if you are not being true to yourself, the only way it's going to manifest is that it's not going to work at the end of the day. When I say it's not going to work, it's just that, people will, the user will smile and then wave, it says just smile and wave, that's how it's going to be, so if you, I want you to go, when you provide the solution, they should go like, wow. They should go like, wow, I want that. That's when you're onto something. So I want you to catch for design fixation or lack of objectivity. That being said, it is important that you also be able to communicate your ideas, not only to your peers, but also to your stakeholders or to your audience. I don't care how smart you are. If you can't communicate the idea, it's just going to be in your head. And if you are working, if you're solving a big enough challenge, it is very likely you won't have all the answers, and you will need other people. So you must be able to communicate your ideas to other people. I'm getting feedback again. Right. Can you put them on mute?
Hello, okay. Hello, okay. Can you just put your mute microphone?
Okay. So I'm hearing feedback. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take out my headphones. Okay. So I want you to be able to communicate to others, be it your peers. Can you hear me?
No,
Let me just start myself. Okay, can you hear me well? Perfect. All right, so coming back around, I want you to be able to communicate. No matter how smart you are, if you can't express your ideas to your peers or to your stakeholders, too bad. Tough luck. You're not going to be solving a big enough problem if you're going to do it by yourself. You genuinely need people with other skill sets who are genuinely better than you in solving, other facets of the challenge. And that's a segue into saying that tech or the technology or the device, the mechanism, the one that we engineers and that we will be so proud of, that's only one part of it, right? Solving, that's only one, but you need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to, talk to your peers. You need to be able to fundraise. There are so many, and then you need to also manage people. That's one thing about, like even when you're in a team, right? Even if you're not appointed as team leader, you need to be able to manage other people's attitudes, working styles. Technology or the device or the mechanism that you make is only one facet of it. Okay. Now, and then one thing that I hold very dear to myself is Dieter Rams. Dieter Rams' 10 principles for good design. He's like a wonderful designer. In fact, Jonathan Ives of Apple, he's taken a lot of his ideation or designs that are inspired by Dieter Rams, and he has this list of 10 design principles that I would highly encourage you all to look into. It's DIETER RAMS. DIETER RAMS. So that's Dieter Rams' 10 principles for good design. It's wonderful. In fact, one thing that I want to share with you on that is he says that good design is unobtrusive. That is, products fulfilling a purpose are tools at the end of the day. You know, they're neither decorative nor works of art. They should be able to, you know, they should be able to leave the room when it's not required. When I say leave the room, it's supposed to just disappear. And one more thing that, I mean, he's got 10. I'm just going to touch upon 2 that I hold very dear. The second one is good design is as little design as possible. Less is better. It's about designing for the essentials. It's not a product burdened with the non-essentials. It's just simplicity, right? I want you to watch out for feature creep. That in version 2, that you try making it do many things. I want you to back off, and I want it to do one thing and one thing damn right, that people world over will know that, you know, this is the best at doing this. That's the one thing I want you all to keep in mind when you're designing. It has to do one thing damn right. The rest of it can be, then you can do a pros and cons analysis, but it's got to do one thing damn right. And then, just before I go into the design process, as an entrepreneur, as an engineer, as you are in a makeathon, there's nothing like making it happen. You might be given a token amount at this point in time. You have limited resources, limited finances. You don't have everything served up to you. You won't have all the solutions with you right now, all the tools. You guys have to make it happen. There are jumps, there are leaps of faith, there are cold calls you have to do, there are people you have to go walk right up to them and explain yourself, explain the thing, saying that I need your help. And if you can ask them that, hey, I need, can you help me with this? Or if you can ask them the question, you will be surprised as to how people will respond and want to help you. So I want you to know, at the end of the day, you have to make things happen. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. And and just to tie up to something I said earlier, you know the conversations that are happening within you, the questions, you know the design best, all right? Nobody else. And if you don't ask yourself those hard questions, somebody else is going to ask you those hard questions, maybe at the pitch, maybe at the business thing. So I want you to ask yourself those questions, and it's okay if you don't know the answers. If you're doing anything worthwhile, you won't have all the answers. But I want you to find people who are smarter than you in what they do and ask them those questions. And if they don't have the answers, they will point you to people who know those answers, and you need to answer. And that also ties up to being objective. If they tell you that's a bad idea, or well, it's not so much that's a bad idea or that's an issue, and it's most likely they'll tell you a way around it, or they might point you to somebody around it. So again, be objective, and you guys got to make things happen. All right? So that's what I wanted to tell you, before the thing got over. All right? So now I will, keeping time, I'm just going to quickly go through the design process, and then we'll open it up for questions, and I will be happy to answer specific questions so that everybody else is learning from this process. So I want to go into framing the problem, creating a solution, and then developing the solution. Now, about framing the problem, this is one quote from Albert Einstein that I hold very dear. And I show you, this is a quote that I didn't pick it up from the internet, okay, where it's one of those quotes that Abraham Lincoln said about the internet. No, this is serious, right? So this is what Albert Einstein said about framing the problem. If I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution, I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask. For once I know the proper question, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. I'll just say that again because I want you all to understand this. If I, is what Albert Einstein said, if I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution, I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask. For once I know the proper question, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. And I think that is genius, truly. Once you can ask the right question, especially ask the right question to the right people, the answer will be staring you in the face. And once you pretty much have a well-defined question, the answer is pretty obvious, if I may say. But framing the question is key. And then it's about, developing that's all, tools and hands and a lot of elbow grease. Trust me, you can make it happen. Now, how do you frame that question? All right, so there are about 3 things I want you to know, and then we'll kind of break it up into questions. All right, so first is I want you to gather information. It's about information and its gathering. The way you gather information is by understanding who are your stakeholders. Who are the people that you're actually going to solve the problem, solve the challenge that you want to. Like all of y'all, when you came in, you have an idea about what's the space you're trying to work in. That's brilliant. That's a fantastic start. And then I want you to now shamelessly pick up the phone call and just call people. Cold call people, go to hospitals, go to NGOs, go meet with them. Say, hey, I got a limited time of sorts, but I want to solve this. How can I, just ask them questions. Now, while you ask questions, there's one trick that I want you to one thing. One disclaimer. I want to give due credit to Professor Amy Smith of MIT's D Lab. I attended the International Design Development Summit on affordable healthcare held by MIT, and it was on affordable healthcare, and the design process on co-creating with your stakeholders. I thought it was brilliant. It was well articulated. So I am picking this most of this from what I'm going to say now from Amy Smith's thought process, and I just think it's just wonderful, right? So I want you to when you meet the stakeholders, I want you to do 3 things: observe, ask, and try. Observe, ask, and try. Now, when you do about observation, it's about, what should I say, opening all your 5 senses, and just, when you meet with them, it's about, what should I say, looking at their surrounding, looking how they go about it. Just hear the things that they are talking. Just observe everything. In fact, even the environment around, observe. And then ask them questions. Ask them, it's fine to ask questions. In fact, one of the smartest people I've met at Harvard or MIT or Berkeley, they would ask initially the silliest questions. And I'd be like, whoa. And then they would have such a logical construct to the questions that eventually you'd be like, they're understand. Sure, they don't know it, but that's fine. They're smart enough to figure it out. Figure out from the answer you give, and then they will ask, oh, okay, if that's the case, then how about this? Oh, and then how about that? Why won't this work? Or that won't work? Fine. How about, so it's about logically constructing your argument. So just ask them questions. Ask them questions about their day. Because you really want to understand what they're going through. Ask them their feelings, ask them their thoughts, ask them, what do other people think? Ask the other people what they think, just ask. And then try. Try is like how in APD, they told you, they asked you to try sitting on the wheelchair, understand how it is, use the tool, try and get into their shoes, try it out. There's nothing like, an attempt to emulate. It's not going to be equivalent, but there is, once you observe, based on your observations, you try and ask them questions to clarify what what you're thinking and what are they thinking, and then you try it out, see whether the the two match up together. So like if it's a farmer trying to work in the field, do it. Go there, pick it up, understand how how they put the basket on, how they pick up the leaves, or how heavy the thing gets. Is there a smarter way? There's nothing like trying. If you think you're really smart, that you can just imagine it all and then do it in a boardroom or a conference room, my friend, you'll be the first to get eliminated. I can assure you that. Okay? Oh, let me remind you, there will be elimination. So just because you got selected, that doesn't mean you're going to make it. You're going to make the cut, or it's going to work. You guys got to make it happen. Okay? Once you do the information gathering, I want you to then synthesize the information. And synthesizing the information is about, you've got so much of information. Try and write it down in in papers, like just like words, just words. Just put it out there. Just have your thought cloud. Put it out there, and then to understand, for you to also communicate to others. Try storytelling, or try creating a customer profile. When I say storytelling, tell us a story about who you're trying to help. What is their day like? Or so that we can understand. The investors can understand what you are creating for. Or even when you are, when you're going to identify the skills gap, you need, it is for us to understand what kind of people do you need to solve the challenge in front of you. So tell us a story about what people are going through, or tell us a customer profile, saying that I met, lady Dev, and then she gets up and she's a 65-year-old lady with so many children, and her husband is crippled of sorts, and she has to wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, or maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. Tell us what a typical customer is. So create a customer profile, okay? And then once you do it in the information gathering, wherein you've met with the stakeholders, you've tried to observe, ask, try, then you synthesize all that information into a story, or you kind of understand the kind of customer profile you're doing. Then you go into idea and its application, wherein you're first thing, you're generating ideas. You are brainstorming. You are doing concept development. And when you are doing idea generation, I want you to go crazy. Okay, I want you, ask, try and do it in as many ways as possible. Ask as many questions as possible, saying, how about this? How about that? Can I, say for example, there are different tricks like or skills like brainstorming. Now, when I say brainstorming, there are just few rules when I want you to do, or things that I want you to do when you do brainstorming with your team or even with people around you. You see, in brainstorming, I want you to put by some measure the logical aspect out, park it outside and just go crazy. Okay, I want you to, and when other people come up with ideas, like say for example, I'm just winging this right now. Say for example, you are talking about making a wheelchair, and then you say, can we make it strong like the Hummer? That's wonderful. Don't say that's stupid. Don't judge other people when you are brainstorming. All right. In fact, I want you to build on other people's idea, no matter how crazy it is, and really encourage wild ideas, because this is the time. It is so nascent. This is the time where I want you to break molds. I want you to just try different wild ideas, and you never know. You might just look at the challenge from a whole another perspective once you just break those molds. Because if you're just going to go through the same channel, then you're kind of just going to make it a little bit better, and I don't think that's going to cut it. All right, and just go for quantity of ideas. Don't try one idea and then refine and refine. No, just go crazy. Just say as much as you want, and but then don't cut into other people. Always one person's talking at a time, all right? And of course, one ought to moderate it just so that other people get a chance. But please don't put down other people's idea. This is not the time to be rational or judge other people. Just go crazy, okay? And while you generate ideas, now another thing is brainstorming is one. I want you to also do, there's this thing called by association. By association is where you say wheelchair and the Hummer. How can we make a wheelchair like the Hummer? And you're talking about, make it look strong. Make the you like the wheels of the Hummer. How can we make the Hummer is all terrain? How can we do that? It's just by association. Then I want you to change your perspective. When you say changing your perspective, that is things like how can we design it to be like very fast? How can we design it to be very tiny? How can we design it to be as light as possible? This is the time where you just go crazy, all right? Don't stop. And then I want, from the idea generation, I want you to go into concept generation, which is or concept selection, where you can do a pro and con analysis, do an innovation versus impact graph, and then find out what are the most impactful. And you see, this is the time where now you start being critical. You be critical, be objective. Don't hide any con from yourself or from the team, because you never know. You might just be able to solve it in the darnest way possible. It might just turn out to be the best idea. So don't hide anything. Again, please be objective. Don't be married to your idea. And if you propose something and your team member proposes another, don't do the subconscious or the subtle fighting of ideas and all of that. And also one more thing that's very important: when you say an idea or you build on it, do not say, I think we should do this, or I thought about this idea. Say we, work it as a team. Because if you just talk about yourself, then people will get possessive. Oh, he stole my idea. No, we have to win in this together. Otherwise, we're just going to lose, right? So be constructive. So when you talk about idea, when concept selection, I want you to do prototype. Do very simple basic prototypes, like use whatever thing you have. Use the markers around you. Try and duct tape it together. Get a feel for it. Try and do like a works like prototype. Try and do a looks like prototype. A looks like prototype is for you and for other people to understand. It's going to look like this. It's fine if at that stage it doesn't work, if that prototype doesn't work. But you just want to tell people, we want it to look like that. That's perfect. And then also try and come up with a works like prototype. It might not look at all like that, how you want it to look. But you say, this is how it's going to work like, but we'll package it now and try and make it look like. The golden standard is when your looks like and your works like prototype are the same. That's wonderful, okay? So, be resourceful. Please do not waste your time prototyping with expensive stuff. You really want to get the feel of it, because, in paper, you might think this is brilliant, but then as soon as you kind of duct tape things together and you are trying to make something that people can hold, and then you just duct tape it together and you realize, they can't really hold it that way, but maybe you can just quickly change it like that, or just use things around you. Just go raid the kitchen, go raid the garage. Just if it's okay if some things are missing a few screws here and there, just put it back. Try and remember where you took it from. Okay, and then just make things happen. Try and feel for it, because you can think about it, but then when you feel it, it's going to be entirely different. No matter how good you are, no matter how experienced you are, please make simple prototypes out of cardboard, paper. Be very resourceful. And then from there, go on to a detailed. Once you're critical, do a pro and con analysis, and then you open it up into detailed design. And then you can do the building where you need the bill of materials. But I just want you to remember that the real key in making an effective solution for people is remembering you are doing it for them. It's about asking them what the challenge is. It's about it's about asking them the questions. It's about you understanding it, getting clarification, framing the problem so much that you understand that this is exactly specific. And remember, when I say framing the problem, it's a very iterative process. You frame the problem. This is the space I want to be in. That's fine. That's the best information you have. Then you start meeting with them, and then you go back and you frame the iterate, make the problem a little bit more specific. Say, okay, now I want to, from accidents are the largest causes of death to two-wheeler accidents are the largest causes of death, and then you realize, well, in two-wheeler, it is actually people between the age of 18 to 30 are the. Now, how can you solve that problem specifically? You see, it's an iterative process of getting clarity, and then when once you've done it to as much as level of detail, it'll be obvious that the answer is staring you back in the face. Because if you guys are trying to just have fun, try and make a mechanism work, you know what? Good news is it'll work. If you're smart enough, it'll work. But that's not something that your customer is going to use. If they're not going to use it, you failed. Okay? I don't care if your mechanism worked. It has to be useful. It has to be effective to the user. It's not about making a functional, mechanism, right? So that's my spiel on what design is. So just one more, just to say what I told you. I want you to congratulate yourself for making it. I want you to understand that you are creating problems for other people. This is not a self-gratification process. Please be objective with yourself, or somebody else will be critical with you, and then that you might not make the cut. Then please make the effort to communicate your idea to your people. Think what you're trying to say, and then say it. The technology, the device, the mechanism, it's only one facet. If you don't understand the emotions or what other people are going through, you will make a wonderful design that is not effective for people, okay? And then you would have horribly failed. Else, you would have done them great justice, and this would be a stellar success. All right, guys? So make it happen, and that's my spiel. I'd be happy to take questions now. Do we have questions coming in?
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, hi, this is Abhijit.
Oh, Abhijit, hello.
Yeah, hi, how are you doing?
Very well. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we just started with the design process for our project, and we came across some ready-made stuff which could be easier for us to use for the project than actually fabricating it.
Very good.
So is it good enough so that we go around with that and then imply our mechanisms on that?
So, very good, Abhijit. You're definitely being resourceful. Now, the question is, who are your customers? Please do a stakeholder. Who are your customers, and will they be able to afford it? Can it be repaired at grassroots level? Can you do community-based repair? Is it So tell me these aspects of this mechanism so that I can understand it better.
So, our project is basically the exoskeleton.
Yes.
So we were looking forward to actually design the entire thing.
Yes.
And then put the mechanism on it.
Right.
Then just today we found out there are some existing things which existing crutches which are available, which we can just motorize it efficiently rather than so.
Good.
Yeah, so that saves us a lot of cost, and the R&D is basically reduced a lot because somebody who's manufacturing it has already done the entire R&D on it.
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, Abhijit, as I told you, when I was in Berkeley, I actually worked on multiple exos for about 4 years. And what we did was we retrofitted a reciprocating gate orthosis. It's basically a hip HKFO that people already make, and then we retrofitted it with motors and we had it walking. So again, you have finite time, finite resources, pick your battles, right? Don't reinvent the wheel for the sake of it. Be smart about it. And I think what you're doing is the right way. And what I like about it is that you're kind of using existing solutions. So, maybe people can already make it the way they're making it, and you are just retrofitting on top of it. So it's a win-win both ways. I think that's wonderful.
So people who are already fitted with crutches can basically use the system.
Of sorts, yeah.
Yeah, so they don't have to spend more on the system themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I agree.
Okay. Cool.
Right?
Cool. Yeah.
Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, hi Arun.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Ganesh.
Ganesh, hello Ganesh.
Yeah, hi. You talked very nice about designing things,
Right.
and am I audible?
Yes, very well.
So my question is about: is it important to consider how many will be benefited out of your idea or design during the initial stages of design? Like you have idea which benefits 5 people against an idea which benefits 500 people. So do you need to weigh these things while designing initially?
So, when it comes to product development or coming up with a viable company, sometimes a bigger market is more enticing. But I think today, or for this one, you have the luxury of doing it for a smaller niche. So whatever you do, as long as you are convinced that this is going to be better. It might solve for a smaller set of people, but this is the best thing that they can ever have, world over. But as long as you can justify to yourself that this is a good use of your time and resource, then other people will come on board too. So I would rather have you make something that is awesome for some people than something that is meh for a lot many more people. Are you following me?
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Any more questions?
Yeah. Hi, it's Abhijit
Hi.
again.
Yes, Abhijit, tell me.
Yeah. So again, I'd like to know, like, because you've already worked on these same projects, so
Sure.
it would have some dedicated time with you, and
Absolutely.
yeah. So uh, when do you think it's comfortable so we can have a chat with the entire team?
We can decide this offline, but I think sometime tomorrow of sorts we can work a time out.
Okay. So I'll ping
Right?
you on your email.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Looks like it's
Hi, Arun. Hi, Arun. Am I audible? Your voice is not audible.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, you can hear me now?
yeah.
Okay.
Ganesh here again.
Yes, please.
Uh, if there are no questions,
Yeah.
I would like to hear, like all of us would like to hear some of the challenges which you face in processes, and how did you overcome? In short summary, can you tell us like some quick things like during prototyping or even designing process during the projects you have done?
Yeah. Right. So I learned a lot. I'm quite strong about my thoughts by some measure because I've kind of seen how not to design. Like when we were designing the exoskeletal suit, I came in 1 year into the program of to say the least. It was a 10-year long program where we were first doing it for the military, and then I came in when we started medical exoskeleton suits. 1 year into it, and then we fitted an amputee, a paralyzed person to the robot, and you have some pretty smart people, PhDs working on it, and with all that, things went pretty much out the window when the user, started using it. Wouldn't even stand up, you know. You're putting a couple of $100,000, and yet the thing wouldn't even stand the person up. But then again, of course, it was solving it. It's solving it on the go. And what I really felt strongly then was like we should really have involved them much earlier on. We should have really come up with simpler prototypes, tested that faster rather than spending hundreds of thousands of dollars coming up with an expensive prototype and then having to then take it really swallow our pride and then redesign it a lot by some measure after a user started using it. We should have involved the user much early on. Failures are all inevitable. It's all inevitable. It's a matter of if it can, it will. It's a matter of when it's going to fail. So you really want, failure is very much a part of it, but it's about, solving it. It's about, you know, uh, what I really feel about this process is that there is no guarantee it's going to work. If at all it's going to work, there is still no guarantee your user is going to like it, because amongst us, thankfully, not most of us are physically challenged. So it is hard for us to emulate, let alone simulate how they are going to use it. So there's nothing like giving them early prototypes and testing it with them, hearing their thoughts early on, and especially engaging the stakeholders, be it like the medical community early on. Thereby, they are a part of the process too. They are. It's not like you've designed this in your bat cave and you think this is, the pressures that you're going to show to the world and people will like lord over it. Nah, that's not quite how it's going to work. Ideas are really cheap. It's about effective implementation. That's the key to it. So, trying to, just because you have an idea, that's not much. There are a lot of people who have good ideas, but can you effectively implement it? Everybody, can have a reason. Yeah, I didn't have the time or I didn't have the resource. That's everybody has a story, but you have to make it happen. You have to make the jump. You have to go out of your way. It will be uncomfortable, but you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And it's a good discomfort. It's about pushing you to be more creative. And then when you do it, you go like, huh, wasn't so bad, and then the next time that's the new norm, and then you push yourself even more. So you could be so just get comfortable being uncomfortable, and remember, it's okay if you don't know the answer to all the questions. That's one can feel overwhelmed, one can feel kind of useless. What am I doing? Or did they make have people made a mistake selecting me? No, we know you are awesome, and we think you can pull it off. We'll do everything we can to help you. We'll get people who are better than us in helping you, and you can do this. You can make awesome stuff with other people's help, and that's how you can do awesome stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Arun.
Okay. And then, of course, YouTube viewers on YouTube can also ask questions on the Q&A box. The Q&A box is somewhere on the screen. You should, on your left-hand side or something like that, there's a Q&A. Yeah.
So any more questions?
Yeah. All right, guys. So it seems that's about it. We're about 9 minutes ahead of schedule. I hope I didn't talk too much, and I hope there was a nugget of information that you'll take away with this. It's success is not guaranteed. You really have to make it happen, guys. So shamelessly ask questions. Don't worry if you don't know the answers. Just reach out, cold call people. You'll be surprised just how many people will help you. Right? You just have to ask. And of course, people are going to snub you and be rude and all of that. That's fine. There'll be some of that, but you'll be fine. Yeah.
There will be one more next tonight at 2 a.m.
Right. Okay. So tonight at 2 a.m. there's going to be Tom who's going to be talking. About it, and then next Wednesday, same time, same channel. All right. All right, guys. Ciao, ciao. I'm wrapping up. All right. I wish you all the best. And my email is arun.cherian@gmail.com. arun.cherian@gmail.com. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ping me. I'll be happy to respond. Okay? All right. Ta-da. Ta-da.
Cool. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Manas.